From WBBZ-TV Sports, it's time to Beat the Champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Paul Peck, along with Hall of Fame bowler Sue Novoitsky, and welcome to this special edition of Beat the Champ. We have had a lot of fun over the last 5 years, taking this sport to another level, seeing all the outstanding bowlers in Western New York, and seeing the reaction from the bowling community has been great as well.
Absolutely. There's so many great bowlers in this community that don't do this for a living, but still come out here and perform on the weekends as if they do it for a living. And, and as far as the community goes, I get so much input from everyone, and we have seen so many great matches throughout the years that it's fun to actually look back and see a couple of them from time to time.
All right, so here we go. It's the best of Beat the Champ.
And away we go. There's Jeff Krywcum on the left. He is our champion, our defending champ, and he's going to decide to start this in lanes 21 and 22 here at beautiful Byllye Lanes in beautiful Bradford, Pennsylvania.
Right, so these, they practice for a little while, and then between the leading qualifier, which in this case would be our champ Jeff, gets to pick whether he wants to start the match or finish the match based on what he sees on the lane conditions. So obviously he elected to start. And one secret here about Chuck Jagodzinski, which won't be a secret very long, is how fast he likes to get up on the approach.
And he's going to leave himself a 4-pin. And it was a nice ball there to start off with Jeff Krywcum. So he comes out, he liked that left-hand lane, and he decided to take advantage of it and took care of business right away.
Right, and I think, we talk about there being no defense in bowling, but, Chuck makes no secret of the fact that he wants to get up there and just go. He doesn't want to be held back. He doesn't want to be slowed down. Right. So I guess...
I think it's worked pretty good. If you didn't know, Chuck Jagodzinski, 69 300 games in his career. 69 300s. That's unbelievable.
Probably in record speed, too.
Yeah, right. Well, it's good to see him step right up there, moves the show right along.
That's right.
And here he goes. And he sparing the first, striking the second. And I love the sportsmanship. These guys, always offering a high five or a handshake when they get done. So I'd like to see them keep it going because, like you said, there's no defense in bowling. You got to go out there and do it. So let's see what Jeff can do here in the second frame. And you'll leave a 7.
Little light swisher hit there. So they got a chance, like I said, to both warm up on this pair. And there's always, there always tends to be little nuances about the pairs. And you'll see as we go on, all of a sudden it'll seem like one lane both guys will struggle on, or one lane will start to break down sooner. And that's part of the things that is the challenge of figuring out. You've got to be on top of your moves in a one-game match. You don't have a lot of time to figure things out. So.
And they're all leaving after 2.
Yep, we'll talk about, transition and what happens as the day goes on, and it'll be interesting to see because we have people that play the lanes differently. These two are pretty close. They're starting out to the right between 5 and 10, direct to the pocket. And our next contender, Jayson Schubbe, we're going to find is way inside of that. That's a terrible break right there.
Yeah, it was. That was a beautiful ball, and he leaves the solo pin there. Jeff Krywcum, a twin, by the way.
That's right.
He is brother Mike, and tells me before the match that Mike and I play softball together. Yeah, we'll play in the Amherst Bar League, whatever you want to call it. And Mike, his brother, is the shortstop for Sorrentino's, a place that I have frequented a few times. And
you didn't recognize them?
No, he said his brother and he are a little bit different. His brother's a little bit smaller. Jeff Krywcum does not exactly look like a shortstop. Looks like a power hitter, and instead he's a power bowler. And here goes Chuck in the third.
Oh.
Hey, you guys have some tough leaves here. Good balls, but they're having some tough single pin leaves.
That's right. Nobody's missed the pocket yet. Striking has, they've only struck once out of 3 times each. So Chuck himself here, this is his 11th show. He's had 15 wins. And overall, he's our leading winner, 36 wins, 32 shows.
Wow.
Overall.
He's a Hall of Famer. Yep, if you didn't know it, I'm with a Hall of Famer, and you're looking at another one right here. And there's a good ball right there. Yeah, averages 230, 230, 245, and 210 bowling 4 days a week, 4 nights a week. That's Chuck. And Jeff, 205. But I tell you what, he appears to be better than that. He is our defending champion. So let's see what he can do here.
Right, and if you notice, like all of Jeff's experience really seems to tend towards island lanes. He doesn't really get around to bowling league and other bowling centers, and you'll see that, you know, most of Chuck's averages come from bowling in different houses.
Right. Wimbledon, Transit, Alden, and then he travels on Saturday.
And that's just that experience that, you know, you can't, I don't know.
You can't replace the experience, right? There's no replacement for experience.
It's not to say that somebody that only bowls in one center can't come out here and win. I'm really not trying to say that, but you know, that experience that Chuck has from traveling to different places, he bowls tournaments. I mean, it just, I think what it makes you do is just be on top of the moves faster. As you see the lanes change, you're used to seeing different things happen on the lanes. If you only bowl in one house, you tend to go into that house and know exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Like, oh, about the 5th, 6th frame, I know I'm going to have to move.
Right.
You know, because you're used to the nuances. So
he's also got 22 years more experience on Jeff. So I'm sure, you know, like I said, there's no replacement for experience. So a double for Chuck in the 4th and 5th. He's going to take the lead here.
Yep, that puts him up about 12 pins, depending on what he does here. You know, that's. String and strikes was going to be the first person to start carrying was definitely going to have an advantage in this match.
He's got a very nice roll, so he's got a turkey as we get ready for Turkey Day in a little while.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
Very unbalanced approach, though. It's an interesting approach. I mean, you know, they always talk about balance in sports being there. Throw that out the window when you're talking about Chuck Jagodzinski.
Do you know what Chuck does, though? And he, as long as I've been bowling around Chuck, and that has been the same the entire time. He does repeat.
Speaking of repeating, there's a double for Jeff.
Yep.
Gets himself back in the match here.
It's important now not to let Chuck run away from him, because what I think they found out is that what carries best here is a more high flush hit. He's tried that light hit, left to 7 pin, the swisher pin doesn't really work here. Little light 4 pins, and they're finding that high flush hit is the one that's carrying. So.
A little bit high, and he doesn't get the carry.
See, there's a problem with that, because you know what you're trying to do. You know you're trying to get that high flush hit, and if you make a little bit of an error, it's going to be to the left, and that's what he did. He went a little high because he pulled it a little bit, trying to keep that ball from going light.
Yeah, you saw Janelle there in the back. A little equation to do, and he covers that single pin spare.
So now Chuck knows he has an opportunity here to really lay the smack down.
Absolutely. Working on a triple.
Watch how he drifts to the left. See how far right he starts?
Well, there's an open door.
Oh, boy.
He goes with 3 in a row, and now a very tough leave here.
So that's just the result of not having a lot of hand in the ball. He got that into the oil, and it just never picked up the roll in the back end, and it hit really, really flat.
Okay, we got a match again.
And we have a tie. This match is pretty close to tied up. Actually, Jeff could go up 1 with a strike. Have you ever seen anybody go so fast?
There you go. I know. Let's not waste any time. I'd like to play golf with that guy, and he does play golf. So you know, get up to your ball and hit it, and he gets up to his ball and throws it. So.
Next time he's up, I'll tell you a funny story about Chuck, but we'll let
Jeff
decide his destiny here.
Yeah, working on a spare. He gets a little too high, almost. It's not going to fall.
All right, Jeff went a little high there. Pulled ball again, 2 shots in a row. I don't know if this little bit of nerves maybe. He knew he was back in a good position, and
he covers the spare. We would have liked to carry that with Chuck having the strike in the bag here.
Well, we are all tied up
Go to the.
in frame 7.
Yep. We're in the 9th. Jeff Krywcum. That went very high, and he pays the price there.
That's
4-6 split. That is a killer. This late in the match.
Yep, this is one of those things where Jeff needed to move. I mean, he's gone high 3 shots in a row. He needed to make a move on this lane, and he didn't. And sometimes that's where a little bit of the inexperience comes in. Is you think
Nice try.
you made a bad shot versus is it time to move?
Right. Well, speaking of moving, if Chuck can strike here and put a double up in 8 and 9, he is going to put a little stranglehold on the match. And he does. There's your Hall of Famer showing his might, his will, whatever you want to call it. But
That's right.
He
So
knows what he's doing.
that is going to pretty much seal this match for Chuck. We want to make sure that nothing crazy happens here and he keeps it on the lane. But yeah, that open was very costly for Chuck.
And there's a hammer.
And
he gets the
that'll do
turkey
it.
to start the 10th frame, and
Yep.
we're going to have a new champ here on Beat the Champ because Chuck Jagodzinski comes through with the win over Jeff Krywcum there, and we'll see what happens next.
Yep, that was a little experience won out on that one.
Yeah, I would think so.
You know, now he's got a tough match against Jayson Schubbe, and we'll be back after this to talk to Jeff Krywcum. Final score of 236 to 192. Obviously, you know, Chuck kind of figured that out there at the end. Lane 21, a little bit of an issue for you?
Yeah, I was missing it in a little, and it was just leaving that 4 or the 7.
Yeah, it was
I trusted out there, and I didn't.
Well, who can blame you? A little nerves come all the way out here in Newhouse for you. Paul?
Yeah, a little consolation prize here for you. Wish it could have worked out a little better, but you know, that's Chuck's tough. So
Oh, yeah.
you gotta have your A game.
He
when you're
gave me an
bowling.
opening at the end, and the 4 pin didn't go down.
Yeah, you need your A game when you're bowling Chuck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know we'll see you again, Jeff, and it was nice to see you out here. And you know, we'll be back after this to see Chuck Jagodzinski take on Jayson Schubbe.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ, and we're going to have a new champion because Chuck Jagodzinski right there in our previous match beat 236 to 192, and he is now going to take on Jayson Schubbe, and Jason's going to start the match right here. He's in his nice orange golfing apparel and looking sharp. I said, with that outfit, do you play golf? He says, absolutely, this is my golf outfit, but I'm here bowling.
Yep, Jayson overall has made 6 shows, but only this is only his 2nd appearance this year, and he's yet to pick up a win this year. And of course, he's got to take on
Hall of
Chuck,
Famer. Yes, welcome to.
who, by the way, passed Mike Sarcone with that last win. Now he's overall leader with 37 wins, and I know that they're having a little competition neck and neck, and flexing little muscles there for Chuck, getting his 37th win.
We got this good-looking guy next to us. That's Paul Geiger, and Paul and his wife Jackie are the proprietors here at Byllye Lanes. And Paul, thanks for having us here.
Yeah, glad you guys are here again. Worked out well last year. Hopefully, it'll do the same again this year.
Well, you got a Hall of Famer right there bowling. It can't be all bad.
It is not. When you're bowling Chuck, you got to bring your A game because he's going to bring his.
What's happening here?
But leagues are just they begin in September. September is a little slow. October as the weather starts to turn. November, then it's game on till April, which is always a good thing.
And Chuck with the split there, and kind of opened the door early here for Jayson Schubbe.
Last match, we saw an 8-10, which is a light pocket split, kind of like your ball not hitting well enough for Chuck. And now this also is pretty much similar reaction, 5-7, another light hit without his ball didn't hit very well. So uncharacteristic for Chuck.
I think he goes wide there and comes up empty. So he'll have the open here in the second. Again, Paul Geiger, what's coming up here at Byllye Lanes?
We have a couple scratch tournaments that we do at both centers. January 25th, we have a 5-man scratch tournament. It starts at, I believe it's at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. A lot of teams. Usually we fill it, 24 teams. Big money tournament, a lot of action, brackets. Then the following day, on Sunday in Salamanca, we do a singles tournament, which is a scratch tournament. Double elimination format. People like it because they can do it in one weekend. You come here Saturday, stay overnight, probably go to the casino, a lot of them do, and then hit Salamanca on Sunday.
Are you telling me that bowlers are gamblers? Yes, I know this. I know this. How many guys will come out to a tournament and they don't qualify, so they'll do it right and they'll throw it in again and again and again. So they're out there.
Bowling's gambling too.
Yeah,
That's true. Gambling on yourself, though.
Exactly.
Your odds are at least a little bit more in your hands.
and a great start for Jayson Schubbe. He comes out with 3 straight strikes. Chuck with a spare and then a 8 open in his second frame. So good start for Jayson. He's on his way to a possible 300, of course. Chuck has 69 300s in his career. I mean, that is just a phenomenal number, and he's back on track with a strike there in the 3rd.
Nice shot there. I don't know if Chuck just hit it in the oil a little bit, and when he gets it in, kind of skids in that oil and has a little problem with the deflection back there, leaving those 2 pocket splits. Because right there, that was perfect on 22.
If you notice, though, Jason's using urethane, so
He is using urethane.
that might affect Chuck a little bit.
Yeah, Chuck back on track with a double. You saw Janelle there on the scoreboard at the Castellone Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, and she was busy with Chuck last game, 236. He's off to a little bit slower start here, but he's back in the game with a double in the 3rd and the 4th. Here's Jayson trying to start the match with 4 straight strikes.
Like Paul mentioned, all Jayson brought today was urethane balls. That's his intention for attacking the lane. He does play a lot deeper on the lane, slower ball speed, good rev rate, so definitely in a different zone than Chuck is.
And he doesn't get the carry on the 9-pin, so he'll have that left for his spare. He's got his new wife, Michelle, here and there. They've got a couple sons, Dylan and Dalton, 16 and 18-year-olds, so he's got his hands full with a couple teenage boys in the house there. And he said he knew what he was getting into when he decided to marry his beautiful wife, Michelle. So here he is trying to cover the spare here in the 4th.
Yeah, I end up getting 3 with my marriage, too. Great kids, though.
He'll cover, and
So with that, he's got a 23. Yeah. But Chuck's got that strike up, so he can cut that down to 13 with another strike. But it's good.
You see 79 in the 3rd, and we got 56 in the 3rd for Chuck, as Janelle is on our Castellone Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Here he is in the 5th, Jayson Schubbe from West Seneca, 37 years old, 220 average, and then a few leagues, cumulative.
Ooh, got that light hit there.
Got the pins to carry. Again, you're looking at the sportsmanship. We talked about it in the first match, but I love to see it. The guys, they congratulating each other after a good shot. Chuck Jagodzinski.
So I said I had a funny story about Chuck, and last year I think it was he went to either earlier this year or last year he went to a new chiropractor because his had retired or whatever, and he was talking to the chiropractor about bowling, and the chiropractor said, "Wow, I watched that show." He said, "Did you ever see that guy that falls off his feet at the line?" And Chuck was like, "Yeah, that's me." I love that story.
Yeah, you should back it up and say, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer and he's got 69 300,
yeah.
So what the heck.
Well, Chuck said he's struggling a little bit today with a pulled muscle in his legs, so maybe he looks a little bit more unsteady. You picked that up right away. He looks a little bit more unsteady than usual, but it's not. He's doing quite well. This looks like a good time to take a break. We'll be back with more Beat the Champ right after this. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
You know, you talked about bowlers, Paul, being all shapes and sizes there. We had the Buffalo Bills type left tackle in Jeff Krywcum here, and then we got a running back type wide receiver there in Jeff Schubbe. So, And Chuck leaves the 10 pin there. He looks like he's struggling just a little bit. That's a couple of single pin leaves in 2 of his last 3 shots.
And he needs to put a couple together here. He's down 32, so every time he strikes, the next, the doubles really.
Oh, that was close.
The boxing glove.
What about that ball there that he throws, that last ball, that clear ball with it looks like it's got something red inside? That's
the boxing glove inside of that. That's his spare ball. And, it's a low performance bowling ball, so it doesn't hook away from the spare.
And he gets the 10 to 7 pin to carry. So he comes back on the strike, and boy, he needed it. So on a spare comes Jayson Schubbe in the 8th frame. He's got a healthy lead here, and a couple strikes here could really put the screws tight on Chuck Jagodzinski.
Well, we're in that part of the match where you can kind of predict what's going to happen at the end, and Chuck can only shoot 226 if he strikes out. So, we can look at Jayson. If he doubles here, he's going to put he's going to make it very difficult for Chuck to pull this match out.
Perfect ball right there, man.
Great shot.
Right down central in the pocket. It's a congratulations from his folks. His dad is here, his mom is here, and his wife is here. So his dad taught him bowling, and his grandfather taught him golf. That's what he told me. And so he has a 88-year-old Joe Simpson, and they play at Elma Meadows together, and they have a great time. And I love to hear the grandpa kid stories when they go out and do sports together. And so they're golfers out at Elma in a league together. His dad taught him bowling, and here he is trying to put the hammer down on Chuck. And he doesn't get the 10 to carry, but he's looking pretty good still.
So what we're at here is if he makes this spare, he needs to fill the 10th frame, strike and spare, either way, to pull this match out. But by not striking here, it's a critical spare, but he still leaves the door open now for Chuck to put pressure on him in the 10th frame.
Jayson Schubbe.
It's a big spare for him.
Trying to cover the 10 pin here in the 9th.
We talk about the importance of strikes, but as you can see, it's coming down to these guys making their 10 pins, because this match wouldn't be this close if both these guys didn't fill those 10 pins, and that's how important it is to make sure you concentrate on that second shot.
Do or die for Chuck Jagodzinski, and he does right here.
Imagine that.
He's been there, done that a million times, and let's see if he can get a turkey here in the 10th and put some heat on Jayson.
He does really need this double here, though, to make Jayson have to show up in the 10th frame and fill that frame.
Working on 2, going for 3, a little bit high, but it carries perfectly.
And I'll tell you, Rick, this is one of those things, and because Rick hasn't been here as often, is these people that are not professional bowlers that get up here and make 2 great shots like that to win a match never ceases to amaze me. Well, because this is not what they do for a living, and yet they can hammer down and throw them when they need to.
And he is putting the hammer down. That's 4 in a row for Chuck.
Every one of those shots was bang on. Every one.
So Chuck was the high qualifier coming in. So did he shoot 800 as well?
He had 780.
Wow.
Jayson shot the 800 in qualifying. Chuck shot 780 in the top 24.
In the top 24, right?
Yeah.
Going for his 3rd straight here in the 10th, 5 in a row. Chuck Jagodzinski putting the heat on Jayson. Just make him at least show up in the 10th frame here,
All right, so not only that, count matters.
Yes, 226 for Chuck.
So a strike here is...
Put him at 208 in the 9th.
Right, which would mean strike spare will give him 228, a 2-pin lead. So anything less than a strike makes obviously Chuck's chances better.
Jayson Schubbe, big shot here in the 10th frame. No, doesn't get the carry on the 9 pin.
Okay.
He needs spare and...
He needs a spare and 9 to tie, a spare and strike to win.
Ooh, I like it.
Spare and 8 will not be enough.
I like it. Last match wasn't very close, and this match is right down to it. So what you like to see. So go ahead and have a drum roll, please.
I'll tell you, both our bowlers today, though, have made Chuck work hard. Have to bear down and throw a bunch when he needs them. And so far, Chuck's done it.
Okay, he's got the spare covered.
All right, there's a spare.
There you go, folks. 10 to win.
10 to win, 9 to tie.
Yep.
We'll do a 2-frame roll-off. It happens to be a tie.
Okay. This is what it's all about. You come down to the last shot of any match, and it's coming down here at Beat the Champ at Byllye Lanes in beautiful Bradford, Pennsylvania. Our second match of the day here. Jayson Schubbe for the win. Needs 10. And he's got it. What a shot.
That was a great shot.
Jayson Schubbe, what a great match, what a great shot, right down to the end. Boom, just like that, 227 to 226. Awesome shot, and we'll talk to him right after this.
Correction, it was a 227 to 225 win for Jayson Schubbe over Chuck Jagodzinski. But Chuck, you pulled it together so well at the end and threw those great shots to force him to show up in the 10th frame. That was amazing, being that, you know, you had a struggle there a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah, the carry went down. I'm not going to say why. If people can watch on TV, they don't know why, but it wasn't fair, but what can you do?
Well, bowling's not always fair, but it's always who knocks down the most pins. And you know, but the important thing is what a great show you put on by pulling it together at the end and pulling something out of nothing. And you never cease to amaze me how good you really are. And you do have those 37 wins that do take the lead now.
Yeah, but I wanted to up it because one win, how long is that going to last?
Till next month when we see you again, Paul.
Chuck, always a pleasure to watch you bowl. I mean, I was here when you qualified. I was here last Sunday for the top 24 when you shot 780. You're a machine. So thanks again for coming down. I appreciate it. Okay, thanks. There you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you again, I'm sure, next month. And it was a great show you put on for us. And we'll be back with more bowling right after this.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ here on WBBZ, and you're going to see our championship match here. We got Rocket Rob Piccoli on the left there. He's going to go first against Jayson Schubbe, who had that clutch shot there in the 10th to beat Chuck Jagodzinski and come out here now in the championship match. So here's Rob Piccoli.
Yeah, I was off by a pin in that match. I had an early in the match. I'd given Chuck an extra pin.
Wow.
And
Tough start.
He didn't appreciate it, by the way.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? We're sitting here, and Jayson Schubbe needed 9 to win, and we thought he needed 10, but guess what? He covered it.
He knew it anyway.
Yeah, he did it. Right on. Tough start for Rob here, though. He has the old 8-10 there, and that was a pretty good ball to get that leave.
Well, that was actually the 8-10, and that's another, like we saw Chuck leave a couple pocket splits that are the result of your ball not hitting very hard, and that was also one of those. 8-10 is when your ball doesn't, hit the pocket, is coming in pretty weak, and sometimes you can leave a pocket split, and that's what happened there.
Jayson starts up, and he'll leave the 10th in. So Jayson comes in, throws a 227 on the board, and knocks off Chuck, who knocked off Rob Krywcum in the first game, 236-192. And here we are at the championship match, and it's Jayson Schubbe here in orange.
Well, Jayson's, had a tough day taking on Chuck and now taking on Rob. They're pretty much our 2 of our 3 winningest bowlers this season, and definitely the hot bowlers. Rob we talked about it earlier in the opening, that Rob has made the show 5 months in a row, and with the grueling qualifying situation, it's not that easy to make the top 9 is what you make to make the show. 5 months in a row.
Yeah, really. That's Pretty
probably
impressive.
a good time to mention that next month we're going to be at Rapids Bowling Center, and the qualifiers are going on for that right now.
And he gets a carry.
Nice shot there. So we're looking at tomorrow, November 17th. There'll be qualifiers at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. And the following weekend is going to be our roll-off weekend. So Saturday there's qualifiers. That's Saturday the 23rd, 2 and 4 p.m. And then on Sunday the 24th, 2 and 4 p.m. qualifiers with the roll-off at 7. And
It's at Rapids Bowling Center, Niagara Falls.
So what they do is they take the top 24 from all of the qualifiers. They'll come back and bowl at 7 p.m. and then the top drop all scores, top 9 make the show. So that's how these guys have gotten here. Good recovery there by Rob too.
Yeah, Rob comes through, and Rob, 34 years old from Kenmore. He 227 cumulative average. He bowls a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Averages 218, 227, 220, 220, and 215. And he gets around airport, transit. A couple days a week at each of those.
Right.
And then he's in the travel league. Like I said.
Yep,
So
the
this
travel
guy,
league goes all over Western New York. That's also a really great experience.
so these guys come down here to Byllye Lanes, Bradford, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, nice
They
mix
don't bowl
there.
here very often, but they come down here and they're adjusting very well.
No, but when Paul had talked about his tournament that he has coming up, a lot of our bowlers that we see on the show support that tournament. It's
The one in Salamanca?
yeah. There's one here on the Saturday and Salamanca on the Sunday. So, like you said, they make a weekend out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Come
fill
down.
both days. So
Yep.
good
Spend
support.
the nights, go to the
good support
casino,
out
right?
here. Right.
Exactly. Yes, Paul and Jackie Geiger, our hosts here at Byllye Lanes in Bradford, and a beautiful shot right there from Jayson Schubbe. He's got a double,
So,
opened in the first frame.
So if you notice, he's really quite deep on the lane, and the ball almost looks like it's going to go high. But because of the urethane cover on that ball, that is a much weaker cover stock, the ball doesn't hook up high like you would kind of expect from watching the high performance bone balls. So he is just playing really deep on the lane, really tight to the pocket, and definitely trying to get that high flush hit. That's been the excellent carry.
Saw Janelle there keeping score on our Castellone Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, and now a turkey as we approach Turkey Day for Jayson Schubbe.
So I know that Chuck expressed a little frustration because Chuck's a serious competitor. He does not take losing lightly, which is probably why we've seen him back here so much, and we will see him again in the 4th show because he made the special show here at Byllye Lanes, which is an adult junior show. So we will see him again this month.
And that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. So here's Rob going for the turkey here in the 4th. He opened in the 1st. I might have said that backwards because it was Jayson with a spare in the 1st with a turkey, and now Rob opened in the 1st, and he comes back with 3 in a row. So
He's
here
down
we go.
11, but it's the battle of the strikes now. It's going to be kind of a carry contest here
Right.
because these guys are pretty lined up.
Yep, 39 in the 2nd, 50 for Jayson
Right.
in the 2nd.
11
Both
pins.
have 3 in a row going, and here's Rocket Rob, Piccoli, not Spiccoli, but Piccoli, going for the 4 in a row in the 5th. Leaves the 10 pin.
Week 10. Ball hit a little weak for him. Spares will be important here because neither one of these guys have been so perfect. I mean, it seems like Jayson's nemesis has been that 9 pin because he's playing so high flush that when he does, when the ball does cut through, it can miss the 9. We've seen a bunch of 9 pins for him just based on the way he's playing the lane.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
I would say, give me a percentage. Is it 90% of the bowlers this level go after their single pin spares with a straight shot, as opposed to, I've seen other shows and I've seen other guys that make this show go at it with more of a hook.
Well, that's a really good question because I'd say, he Yeah.
Wow, there's a lucky break right on the nose of the head pin, and he gets it to carry.
You got that one right. It didn't take you long to realize a lucky break. That was definitely a lucky break.
And he knows it. That was the parting of the Red Sea there.
Yeah, he got that one in. Like I said, he's playing in, but he got that one like left of target. And
he's going to the rosin bag after that one.
that's why when you're sometimes not watching your competitor, because you don't want to see that, you know, because that.
Right.
Yeah, because that
demoralizes
that puts Rob,
you when you know he got a break and he should end up with a 7-10 split or something like that.
That's put him down like 30 pins pretty much, that break right there. So anyways, 10 pins, almost everyone uses a spare ball at that.
Okay.
So a plastic ball to shoot straight at it so your ball doesn't hook away from it. There's people who can really flatten out their hand or throw it super hard. But for the most part, they do change balls and go plastic on that.
Meanwhile, there's a 5 in a row for Jayson Schubbe.
Well, that's taking advantage of that break. That's what you want to do. If you're going to catch a break, you might as well take advantage of it.
5 in a row, and he's jumping out, and Rob needs one here. Rob Piccoli. And he's got it.
So do you want to know how he got the nickname Rocket, Rob?
Yeah, tell me.
Because he had, when he started out, exceptional ball speed. Like, Rocket Rob, because he threw rockets to the pocket. I mean, just... And he's learned how to tone that ball speed down.
Well, you know, he's all of 34
advantage.
years old. It's not like, you know, he's slowing down in his old age. He does that.
No. But he's had to learn how to temper the ball speed so the ball will work harder. If you're just, you know, on lanes where you have a lot of skid or a lot of oil, if you're throwing it hard, that ball's just going straight down the lane like without ever picking up a roll. And you need that roll in order to carry the pins in the back. So
I think in golf we would call that slowing it down so it takes the break.
Okay.
You know? So the ball will roll in the hole. An unfortunate 10-pin lead there, especially with Jayson on the 5-bagger right now. So it's going to be a must pick up here, and then he needs some help from Jayson. He's not going to be able to do this on his own. He's going to need some help from his opponent. Covers the spare.
Yeah, we're looking at 30 pins, possibly 40 pins here if he can continue striking the way he has. It's a big advantage going into the second half of this game.
32 at least if he can get another strike here. 32 pin lead. Here's Jayson Schubbe from West Seneca. Oh man.
All right, well that's
going to make the match a little more interesting.
That's right.
So his 5-bagger ends right there, and he's got a 10-pin to cover here in the 7th frame.
He still has a 31-pin lead. I mean, that's a pretty big lead here with only 3 frames left. Last month, Rocket Rob made the show at Island, and he ended up losing to Chuck Jagodzinski. So those two have their little...
Look out. Oh, my.
Big spare.
They
have
cover.
a rivalry there
close.
for, like, hottest bowler of the second half of 2019. They've been duking it out almost every single month. So Rob was probably happy not to have to run into him again.
Well, he's got 12 300s in his career, does Jayson. Of course, we talked earlier about Chuck Jagodzinski, 69. And here he goes in the 8th. And another 10-pin lead. So, helps Rob out just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you got a chance.
Gives him an opportunity to cut that lead down to 20. But again, I think both of them, this is the time of the day where transition starts to hit. So the lanes are starting to break down. These guys have been playing them, you know, the same, Jeff and Chuck and Rob are all in generally the same spot. And Jayson's inside of that. So sometimes when when the lanes start to break down, because you're going to move in, but now you're moving into a spot that Jayson's been throwing his ball in. So it kind of makes them a little squirrely or a little more complicated when you start to make your natural adjustments. So now we're in that phase where they're seeing the little nuances of the lane change, and they're trying to make choices on how they're moving. You can change balls, you can direct your eyes longer, shorter, whatever you need to do.
Rob Piccoli and 7-pin leaves. So a lot of single-pin leaves here all of a sudden.
Yep. They're good about hitting the pocket, but that's the first thing to go in transition is the carry, and that's what's telling you you have to make a move. But it's difficult to make a move when you're hitting the pocket. It's one of those things that, you know, the real experienced bowlers will sometimes make adjustments off pocket hits, and you know, the ones that like to be safer will stay in the pocket and not want to give it up. But sometimes you're giving up the carry when you do that.
Well, Rob, the good news is Rob picks up the spare. The bad news is that he's down 31 pins, and he's in the 9th frame here. So it would behoove him to strike out, I would say.
So his maximum score right now is 237, and Jayson's got 190 and 190s in the 8th. So you know, there's still an opening there. He just got to.
Rob and oh my. Rocket Rob Piccoli is not too speedily happy with that one right there, folks.
We've seen more pocket splits here in the first week than I have seen in full days.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, that's pretty much going to do him in there right there, because.
Well, Jayson needs 6 pins and 2 frames, and something tells me he can do it. We're gonna give him a
Jayson
chance.
Schubbe is going to be perhaps our new Beat the Champ champion. Let's see what he's got right here. I think I like his odds.
For 6 pins right here.
Ball game.
And he's got
way to close the door. So Jayson Schubbe has a clutch finish to beat Chuck Jagodzinski, and basically our semifinal match, and in our final match right there, he just hammered the door and shut it down on Rob Piccoli. So Jayson Schubbe, the new Beat the Champ champion right there.
And we'll be back to talk to both guys and hand out some prize money right after this.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ, and we have a new champ, and the final score 256 to 194. Rob Piccoli, you were the 194. A couple tough breaks there in the first frame, and in the 9th frame with a couple leaves. The ball didn't seem to quite carry for you, like I think you probably wanted it to.
Yeah, probably need to get it outside further, a little right, so it had time to get in that dry and roll through the pins. It kind of deflected on those 2 8-10s. That's why I left those. So, but I mean, was in the pocket the whole time, but Jayson bowled a good game too. So
yep, you bowled well, man. It's just sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll try to be back next month. So.
Okay, well, we got a little consolation money for you. I don't think that'll be too bad.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you coming down. You've been supporting us every time we've had it in Bradford and Salamanca. Hope to see you in February in Salamanca. Thanks again.
Okay, and Sue is with our champion.
Well, big week for you, taking on 2 of our most winningest bowlers, like no problem whatsoever, a cool customer. Tell me a little bit about the choosing the urethane ball today.
I think I had a much better reaction with urethane. Reactive was overreacting for me, and I have a little miss room both to the right, to the left, and even if I don't throw a good shot, maybe I'm leaving a flat 10. So I'm keeping myself out of trouble, which is really important because I've gotten myself, I've lost a number of matches on here because I've gotten myself in with splits. So
did shooting 800 in qualifying give you a little boost of confidence as well?
Absolutely. How could it not?
All right. Well, you made it look easy, and those were 2 tough opponents you did there. So great job, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.
Back to you.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, a couple of great games for our champ, 227, 256, and he pulls it out here. So we'll see him next week, same time, same channel. And we'll be back to wrap it up right after this. Welcome back to Byllye Lanes here in beautiful Bradford, Pennsylvania. And we had a great champion, a new champion here in Mr. Schubbe, but it was Mr. Piccoli, I think, that you predicted, Janelle, to win this.
I did, yeah, you're right. But like I did say, it is anyone's game because this isn't their home bowling center. So, you know, Jayson really came out on top because he figured out how to beat the lanes here.
So Jayson Schubbe, our new champion, and the Hall of Famer and Rob Piccoli, a little bit of what we didn't expect.
Oh, for sure, because those were our two hottest bowlers going into this week, and then here comes Jayson, who's yet supposed to win this year, who got it all figured out, and he used a urethane ball to do it, which is a little bit unusual, but it absolutely was the right ticket today. But he's got new challenges next week because he's taking on left-handers who we haven't seen a left-hander yet, so they're really starting out in a fresh condition. So we have Sean Dietz, who's left-handed. That'll be our first match. We have Brandon Miller out of Jamestown, and then we have Ryan Kress, another left-hander. So, you know, Jayson figured out this week, but he's going to have work cut out to figure out next week.
So we're going righty, lefty, and it'll be an interesting show. Well, congratulations to our new champ, and we hope that you'll join us next week. We're coming here from Byllye Lanes in beautiful Bradford, Pennsylvania. We'll see you next week right here on Beat the Champ.